Hello everybody, this is King Tut here, and welcome to another Python tutorial. Now in this tutorial, I'll teach you guys the while loop. So, we've learned that for loop is basically a kind of loop that loops from point A to point B. So it has a starting point and a finishing point. So for example, we declare a variable I, and it starts from 0, and then I is less than or equal to 8, or let's just say it's less than 8. So it's just, so from I equal to 0 to I, and it keeps looping until I is not less than 8. So it's gonna keep iterating 7 times, and actually 8 times, my bad. And then it's gonna increase it with every loop, and it's gonna, so that's basically the for loop. That's what I mean by going from point A to point B. In the while loop, unlike the for loop, while loop is basically a conditional loop, or a kind of loop that keeps looping on and on and on until probably your software crashes, or till your computer crashes, or till your battery dies, your laptop battery dies, or till there's a blackout. Um, Hopefully that does not happen. And so, or the condition becomes false. So yeah, so let's reiterate this. While loop is a conditional loop, or a loop that keeps on looping until something happens, until the condition itself is false. And yeah, and if you didn't make the condition clear to make false to get out of that while loop, it's gonna keep on looping, and and hopefully your software doesn't crash, or whatnot. So a while loop is basically an ongoing loop until the condition is false. And yeah, I've been saying that 3 different times. So instead of repeating myself about while loop, let's implement it. So how do you implement a while loop? So let's start out with a variable x equals 0, and let's do while, and you don't need a parentheses or anything. You just basically put x is less than 7. So it's like the for loop. I'm recreating the for loop in a while loop. And you basically put in, let's just put in print hello plus x. And that's that. And when I run this program, or actually, let's make it cleaner and put a space here, so that way it doesn't become hello and x right next to hello. So it's hello space x. So when I run this program, it should give me, it should go from 0 to 6. Hello 0, hello 1, hello 2, hello 3, hello 4, hello 5, and hello 6. Let's do that. It tells me it cannot open file. Let's run while loop. Oh, okay. So cannot concatenate with a string. So actually, I think I remember saying, let's cast it as an int, or cast it as a string. Actually, let's Why can I not do that? Reference. Let's just put it as an int. Let's cast it as int. Okay. Now let's int. Alright, so let's just save the headache and put print line x. Why is it giving me error right now? Oh, wait. Can I put comma x? Let's see if I could do that. Alright, so as you see here, it only prints out 0. And why is that? Oh, before I get into the why, I just wanted to point out, don't put plus, just put a comma and then put a variable next to it, because a plus would suggest that the variable is a string, and since the variable is not a string, only an int, it's going to give you errors. So that's how I fixed it. So you see that fixing live here. But let's get into the why. The why of why are we getting zeros and not increments? And why is it keep on looping and looping and looping on and on and on? Well, we haven't put any incrementation of x. We haven't made x increase with each loop. So to stop this ongoing loop, because you don't want this to go on forever and ever and ever, because your software is going to crash. It's going to add more bloat to the computer. You just basically you go to that, you highlight that square icon, and you click that. That's basically stopping the terminal, stopping the program. Not the terminal, the program. Alright? So let's increase this by 1, and let's run this. As you see here, it ran as intended. It actually outputted as we expect. So it says hello, and it starts out with 0, then hello, and then it puts 1 because x is being incremented by 1, and then it says hello 2 because x is incremented by 2, and it goes on and on and on with every incrementation. And once it gets to 7, it basically breaks the loop because 7 is not greater than 7. It's equal to 7. So that's pretty much how you implement a while loop. But let's get into the applications. Let's basically do a more practical approach. So let's take out, actually let's leave it here, and let's I'm going to be putting in a comment, put application, actually practical application here, and then let's make a variable called name, actually number, and let's set it equal to input. Alright, and then put enter a number, and let's put in y equals to, let's put y equal to 2. So number takes in an input from you, so enter a number, and let's put in a colon and space, and then put while x is not equal to y, or y input, while input is not equal to y. Actually, let's not get confused with the, let's just put I. Input I. What am I doing? It's been a long time, so. Alright, so while your input is not equal to whatever number here that I set y equal, if number equals y, well, we're gonna put break. And what this break keyword is basically it's gonna break you out of the loop. It's applicable to for loops and also to while loop. And then else if not, let's just put right here, let's copy this input because it's not, I'll show you why. I'll tell you why. So incorrect and followed by 2 exclamation points. Oh, I forgot one thing. Gotta give an indication that you're correct. So the reason why I copied this and pasted it here, because in the while loop, it's gonna go on forever and ever and ever. If we put in print, it says incorrect, enter a number. It's not gonna notice that there's an input. The computer can't read minds. So you gotta make it specific for the computer to read. So that's why I copied number, this whole line here, and put it here and modified the text. So once I run this program, it's gonna run this while loop, so we're not gonna be worried about it. And it's gonna run this while loop too. So let's test it out. So it ran this while loop here, and it's running this while loop right now, and it's telling me to enter a number. So let's say I enter 3, an incorrect number. Alright, so it's telling me incorrect, enter a number. Let's put in the correct number, which is 2. And it tells me that's still incorrect. So let's debug this. Let's print out number. Not actual printout. Let's just. Okay. And indentation matters when you're doing an if statement and while loop. Just reminding you. Okay, so let's terminate that, and let's basically going to the red square and clicking on it. And it's gonna tell you it's gonna be finished with an exit code, this crazy number instead of 0, because you basically stopped it manually, not the program itself. So let's run it again. Enter a number, 2, and it tells me that it's incorrect. Alright, I'm gonna pause the video and figure this out. Alright guys, I'm back. I noticed I don't need this part here. And let's put it here. It's basically a string, so it only inputs strings. I just noticed that from my previous tutorial. So thanks, past me. So alright, so let's take 2 on this. And let's take out the print. So everything should be correct. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully everything is correct. Alright. Enter a number. 3, 2, and it just basically, that's pretty much it. Huh. Let's try it again. And it just basically breaks. Let's try it again. I mean, it works, but it's not actually printing it out. It's not printing out correct. Oh, I see. This is what happens. So I basically put in an input before the while loop, and when it reads the number, when it reads the string, the while loop checks to see if my string here, if my what's it called? If my string input is equal to 2, is equal to this string output. So since it is equal, it just basically skips the whole thing over. So if I were to put number in here, it should actually, so what I put here is I'm going to be putting print correct because there's already an input variable here. So if I were to put an input here, it's going to keep on looping. Well, it's not going to loop until you put in an input. And then it's going to determine whether or not the number you put in is correct. So let's try this again. Well, before I try this again, let's reiterate this. So the reason why it's giving me, it's not printing out correct, it's because I put the input variable outside, and it takes in an input string, and then the input string, so the while condition, that conditional part of the while loop, it basically determines whether or not, it checks to see if the input variable is equal to 2 or not. If it isn't, it would go on with the loop. If it is, it would just basically skip the whole thing over. So if I put the input variable inside instead of outside, then it's going to determine whether or not it equals to 2. So let's run this program right now. Number is not defined. Well, of course, because I haven't assigned anything to number. So let's just put x, or y. Let's make y let's make y equal to -1 for now. And then let's make it equal to 0. It's not equal to 2. If y is equal to 0, okay, I'm actually overthinking this. Let's just keep it 0. And then let's run this program. Alright, so let's put 2. And it came out to be correct. And that's because the input variable inside the while loop takes in the value you put in, and then there's a conditional statement of determining whether or not the number is equal to 2 and what to do about it if either the number is equal to 2 or the number is not equal to 2. So let's make this better. Okay? Let's make this better. So let's make a loop true with all caps. And instead of putting like loop equal to true or not equal to false, let's just put while loop. Nice there. Nice pun I put there. So while loop, it's gonna be the same kind of thing, except I haven't made like y equal to 0 and make while y is not equal to 2. So let's run this program. Let's put 3, and it tells me correct. Oh, hold on. There it is. Let's run it. Let's rerun it. So I made it boo-boo here. So instead of putting incorrect here, I put correct. If you literally gave that to a client, they wouldn't even understand what your program is. They wouldn't even understand if they're correct or not when you're trying to tell them it's incorrect. Alright, so it's incorrect, and you enter a number again, and when you enter the correct number, it says correct. Alright, so there you go. It's a very long explanation of a while loop, but there's a lot of applications for while loop. Like, basically in a game dev, you use it for a while loop to keep your screen on, and that's called a game loop. A game loop is literally keeping your screen on and keeping different what you call it, states. Like if you're in a game mode, you use a while loop for that. If there's a option mode, use a while loop for that. So basically, that's pretty much the practicality of a while loop. Also, a while loop can also be practical in theory. I haven't tested this out. In theory, like loading stuff while this progress bar isn't 100% in in uh, in Python kind of language. Um, I mean, it's a very versatile, uh, powerful piece of Python programming concept. And it's not just Python; it's also C++, Java, whatever your favorite programming language is. It's it's super duper useful in many applications. So thank you so much for watching. And if you're on YouTube, please press like and subscribe and let me know what you think of this video. And if you're on Odysee, please press the fire button and follow me there, follow my channel there. And if you feel like I've helped you a lot and you want to support my channel on Odysee, be sure to tip me some LBCs. Also, let me know in the comments on Odysee of what you think of this video. So, I'd like to thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!